All right, so we're gonna do the last dab.
Mm-hmm. You should dab this one.
Yeah, this one I'm not pouring out any. I'm just gonna be right on a tiny little drop, and I've been there, done this.
This one's a little chunky. You gotta
Spank the baby.
beat it out a little.
Beat it.
You're not going that crazy?
We'll see.
What? There's ground up peppers in there.
So we'll go over what was like your top two pieces of gear that you liked. If you had to go out, I mean, aside from the gun
No.
Gear.
and your iPro,
Yep.
what are the two main things you couldn't do without? Or wouldn't want to do
It's
without?
your
I
turn.
started the last one.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, outside of my gun.
You should do your hot sauce first.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
Oh man, I can smell the heat.
This is not going to be enjoyable.
And I think that's more than a dab.
Yeah, it's a little bit more than a dab.
Yeah, I just smeared it in there like an idiot.
Yeah, me too.
I should know better. This is not the first time you've done this to me.
All right, we're going all in.
It sneaks. Just FYI. It ramps. It's not initially. Give it a little bit.
Yeah, like I'm not going to be finishing that wing. That's done. Okay.
It's not terrible.
It's got good flavor, but this heat is
It
going to
tastes
kill
great.
me. My two items, before I lose all
No.
ability to speak, is actually my bag. I know they're making fun of me for carrying all the bags, but I don't just carry bags in here. Like when I go to a Milsim event, I have my tools in there. In fact, like obviously I had my dead rag before it fell. Well, my old G2 dead rag. I used to have a whole bunch of Allen keys in here. I'd have occasionally like, what? Getting you?
I can feel it ramping up.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
It does taste good though.
I've taken basically everything out of here because I haven't been playing, so I haven't had the chance to really reload it back up. But this thing was one of, like, I would always have kind of stuff in there: food, extra BBs, obviously mags, tools, CO2 cartridges for the pistol. All kinds of things would be in this bag. So I know Steve said that he doesn't like his because it would get in his way. I just learned to kind of lean more toward the opposite side so it wasn't as much in the way. I was smart.
That sounded like a jab a little.
It was. And then I got rid of all this for my hat and my neck gaiter. And I've been hit in the face while wearing this and barely felt it. It's just, but it's so much less on my face than everything I was going with beforehand. That, and because it was so much less, it made it easier for me to like really crush myself up to make like, man, I'm having a hard time thinking.
The wooziness is getting you.
But to like really squeeze myself up, because in fact at I-70, I got accused of blind firing
Breathing
because I had tightened myself up into this tiny little ball
feel like I'm
because
having
I
a
didn't
stroke.
have all the extra stuff. But yeah, so being able to narrow it down for myself, and again, you can get it doesn't even have to be camo, it could be any sort of neck gaiter. Super cheap
Yep.
and useful, in my opinion. And there's definitely other pieces of gear, but top two, outside of my gun, definitely it.
Watch your eyes.
Yeah, don't touch your eyes or your pee-pee.
My whole body is warm.
Yeah.
Okay, Steve.
That does it for you?
I mean, I could go on. There's
I'm
other
sorry, I
things.
wasn't paying attention.
I know you were.
Can you repeat that?
So my bag, obviously, like I said, had all my tools in it, my extra BBs.
I'll rewatch this when I go
Yeah.
to edit it.
And then the neck gaiter, like I said, because it simplified my whole facial protection gear. Obviously, I have other things. Obviously, switching from goggles to the ESSs was a big thing. I know you guys also are using the new dead rags. That's kind of nice. You can just pull them. That's great. I would love to have one. I haven't had a chance to get one. I wouldn't be able to lose it like I lost multiple of these. God, still burning. I mean, my kit hasn't changed really that much. I did change chest rigs, just to a different style of chest rig, same kind of thing. But pretty much everything on it stay the same outside of my bag. I do want to say that I forgot to mention something. I do want to say there was something I forgot to mention in the worst pieces of gear to get. Worst advice.
This is the cooling one. I'm kind of.
Anybody learn a lesson from me. Do not, if you're going to bring a backpack, it better just be for your gear to leave off the field. Do not run around the field while wearing it. I've made that mistake many, many times. I know I'm kind of going back to the previous question, but I forgot to mention it. And yeah, don't do this. This was dumb. This is,
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
run around with that.
yeah, I was running around with that. I almost gave myself heat stroke at I-70 one day because I was running around with that and all my gear on. It was like 100 degrees that day. That was when I was still wearing this and the face mask and all kinds of stuff. And bad idea. Good idea. Get like my Molly backpack.
The
That's
best thing to do is to get a tote that you can lock up.
Yeah.
Leave all your crap in there. Use that for like bottles of water, your extra
again taking it to the
mags, or-
field,
yeah.
but not running with it. I made the
I mean,
mistake
you can
of
run
running
with that if like you got a Camelback in there or extra bottles of water.
I didn't have a
or some-
Camelback. I did, but I mean,
Depends on what it is. If it's just like an open play where there's
I was doing it open
half
place.
hour to an hour sessions or whatever play, probably don't even really need that, because you're only gonna be out there for so long.
No,
but-
absolutely, and I was. That's what I'm saying. Bad advice. We're going back to that one on act just because I forgot to mention. I really wanted to. It was definitely bad advice on that. Don't do that. That was dumb.
No, I didn't get any on my hands. It was, yeah, it's all good.
I didn't say anything about you getting it on your hands. Are you okay over there?
Oh, I thought you were talking about me wiping my eye.
No. I was talking about the bag still.
Sorry,
Are you losing it? Are you okay?
my body stopped feeling like it's on fire. But
All right, Steve, it's your turn.
Yeah, Steve.
Now that
So-
you had a chance to,
Now that my mouth is no longer.
I can't wait for you to do this last one. It has
So
to answer
this
the first
is-
question.
This is pretty heavy, but my chest rig was honestly the best thing, just because.
I think I have the similar chest rig to this.
Yeah.
I like it, especially in the wintertime, because it can help keep you warmer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it keeps you warmer. It's definitely not the greatest thing in the world for the summertime, but honestly, I don't feel like it breathes all that badly
No,
in the summertime.
I have the same thing basically, but multicam. And I still have it.
Yeah.
I like the way the other one kind of clipped off faster than that one. That one was like
This
extra
one-
work. It felt like to
yeah,
get
it
it
takes
off.
a little bit of work to get in and out of, but the coverage, the protection, and just the amount of stuff that I put on it. I got my Camelback built into the backpack that I've mollied onto the back. It carries all the magazines and stuff that I have. I have my magazine pouch for my pistol. Also doubles as a dead rag pocket if I need it to.
For a snack bar. You gonna throw up?
Nope.
Oh please,
I
please,
just
please
coughed.
let it be you this time.
No, it's not gonna be me this time. That was a cough.
It sounded pretty wet.
It was a little wet. Able to keep the this is the map from Georgia
Enjoy, yeah.
that I keep
He still has
in
it
there
2 years later.
Yeah. So that along with honestly a good first aid kit.
Yeah.
There's been a number of times throughout our time playing where there's just been minor stuff, things where band-aids are needed
there
or
was-
cuts happen, bee stings.
Well, there was an incident at I-70 where we were glad we were wearing
Yeah.
helmets because someone like almost brained themselves on that trailer, and
Yep.
like if you didn't have a first aid kit in it, that he'd actually hit himself. Like he was really close.
Yeah, we busted out the first aid kit and got him back to the
Yeah.
office and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, first aid kit is definitely a good thing to have for sure.
So those were probably the two best pieces of gear. I know the chest rig is kind of all encompassing, so there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. How you do it, how you set it up, so on and so forth.
And everyone's different on that. Again, you don't need to have one either.
But again, you don't. But even if you just that chest rig, so specifically,
that was actually a pretty cheap.
is $60.
Yeah, I was like, because again, we both got this basically the same one. His is tan, mine's multicam.
Yeah.
They weren't expensive.
So, even if you do that, a t-shirt and jeans, you're dressing like most of the special forces out there anyways.
Yeah,
right?
you're looking.
If you really want to
fairly
go down that
operator.
route,
Yeah.
Call of Duty things, whatever nonsense, it's just a good tool to have to be able to kind of have everything right there. Like that mag pouch that I have my speed loader in, a lot of the times, because I don't carry it typically during a game, I'll actually have my walkie in that pouch, just so that I'm not, because when we started, we had a pouch on the back, and we were constantly having to
Pain in the
help each
ass.
other do that and all that sort of stuff.
Such a pain.
And I didn't want to buy an extra a specific walkie pouch to mount on the front, so I just used one of my double mag pouches to, it's all modular. It's what you use it for.
Well, and that's kind of one of the things on like in terms of best gear, but also best advice. We didn't just get our stuff off of Amazon or whatever. We also went to a lot of surplus stores.
Yep.
We actually kind of went on some adventures for some of these surplus
Yeah,
stores.
we
one,
did.
One of them was in Indiana.
Yep.
I think that's actually where I got my backpack, was the one in Indiana.
Oh, wow, all in Indiana.
This was before we went out and played. We were just
kind of searching for stuff to do on the days off, and we were collecting gear to be able to go play and stuff. And so we were like, oh, let's check out this one this day, and we'll check out this one another day. And like if we traveled somewhere, we would check if we found something, we'd check it out. Or like we go to like some of the big thrift malls or whatever. Sometimes we'd find stuff there.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy some of the places that you can find.
Again, you don't need to go to play airsoft, especially at G2. You don't need to show up with that most. You don't need
the newest gear.
You don't need a Crytac. You don't need any HPA. You don't need all.
Yeah, we mentioned in the last
You just
episode. We mentioned in the last episode. Actually,
The Crytac does help though.
Shut up.
actually recommending that people actually
HPA
rent
dudes.
that people rent their guns and stuff so they can figure out
Yeah.
like, what kind of play style
exactly.
they like, and then going forth and buying a replica. So
Yeah.
I think does that go into the last one, or is that part of this one?
That's the next one is your opinion on G2's path and like the
Okay,
like,
so-
we already
so we
touched
can
on the
talk
G2
about that
family
then.
aspect.
I wanted to elaborate on that point specifically as far as going to rent a gun, because when I first started playing airsoft, I went and bought actually one of the ones that we use for our rentals,
Yep.
which so far, to my knowledge, you haven't had any issues with.
We've only had two pistons go bad because
Yeah.
they have plastic teeth on them.
Yeah.
We just buy metal
which is
tooth
just
ones
the
and replace-
usual. There's the usual wear and tear
Yeah.
with those guns.
Yeah.
But the first one that I got, probably either a factory defect or one of the times that I was, running and jumping into somewhere or whatever, hitting that butts your motor and your pistol grip up into your gearbox, you can thrash a gearbox.
Well, also, again,
Pretty
for the
easily.
first like month or so when we were playing in the basement, that was on a concrete floor.
Yeah.
So like anytime you may have accidentally dropped the replica, sorry, was potentially leading to that damage, and we
Yeah.
just never realized it until that first day we went out and played. And we played pretty hard all day.
We did.
We didn't miss
Um,
a single round. Like we didn't sit out anything. We played every single round, and it was the very
From
last
open to
round.
close.
Yeah, very last round of the day. His gearbox just.
Yeah,
I heard it from across the
whine of
field.
doom.
Yeah, I heard it from across the field. I'm like,
It
whose gun
literally
is that? And he
I
comes
took it
walking
apart
toward me.
eventually, not very well though. I stripped all the screws out while I was
I
trying
have
to
it,
get
and
it
it's
apart.
literally a
I am
baggie
not-
full of destruction.
Blooper, I will say I have a lot of respect for you.
I don't.
On the tech side, because I am not a tech. I have the one gearbox that I tried to take apart was the last one that I'm ever going to try to take apart.
It stayed apart.
yeah.
I have the baggie.
Yeah.
So like, what happened? Just like the teeth got wore out, or the gears break?
No,
or...
something happened in there. Because,
Definitely some broken
because
teeth.
all
Absolutely.
like half the teeth on one of the gears broke.
And they were
And
metal.
It just went.
Yeah.
And
So was it? So you got the motor that goes up in. It's got a concaved gear set.
Yeah,
that was fine.
that was fine.
That gear that goes to that one was fine. It was the
The
flat-
other two,
Yeah.
the other two flat ones.
Yeah, I've
and-
seen that kind of comment on some. Like every time Aaron has to replace them, that's usually where they fail.
Yeah, and I wondered if, because some, like, there was a little bit of wear on the beveled gear, but nothing like what was on the flat ones. But I had wondered if maybe, the motor got jammed up.
Did you run the 11.1?
No,
No.
and at that point we
I
were
was
still running
running-
the 8.4s.
Yeah, I was
The
still
nickel
running.
metals. No, the 8.4 nickel metals.
Oh, I thought
Not
These.
9.6.
9.6. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, those.
These were what we were running in it. Now we tied them to Dean's, but we hadn't done that yet.
No,
at
yeah,
this
they were
point.
still on. They were
This
still on.
didn't happen until my
The
Avalon.
Tamiyas.
Yeah, because normally like maybe you just got dirt in there or something. That's what caused
Anything could have happened.
Yeah.
But the thing was we had gone, as far as like knowing where you
Also, it could just been like pop metal or something too. You never know what they make them things out of. These
for
days.
sure.
Yeah, and it could just been a specific one.
It could have just been a defect, right?
Because I bought mine from the same place, at the same time.
And he never had the problem.
Yeah, you technically still have it in the trailer. I mean, granted, it hasn't gotten used in 2 years or so, but I never had a problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, out of all of our ASLs, I don't think we've had a single gearbox go bad.
And that's what I mean. Like,
I think Aaron mentioned something else. Maybe it was a gear, or something that went bad. But I mean, it's we run ours out all the time.
Right,
so.
but that's what I mean. We've used them. We've used those more in the first month of Battlegrounds than I did the entire time I owned this gun. So or this replica. So really knowing where you're getting your stuff from, because we had gotten them from Trader's World, and they were under a year warranty. And when we were under a year when we went to go back there with mine being an issue. And
they were gone.
They were gone. The booth was gone. The company was gone.
Find them. Their Facebook page was
old.
It was still there,
but nobody was responding.
No one was responding.
Everything was out of date.
Dead. I think we heard like a couple things about how they were gonna go somewhere or something like that, but they just never popped back up. They were gone.
No,
just gone. So like that's like kind of the nice thing about the G2 field is like you can go there, try the gun first, try a gun out, and then you can get if you enjoy the sport, you don't have to go anywhere. And I know you can technically go online and do your research and whatnot. There is definitely a little bit of a sales pitch here, but like you can try the gun out right there. You can put it in your hands, and that was really what sold us on those guns when we first. Because the mental image I had of airsoft guns when we were first talking about it was going to be very cheap and plasticky, because a lot of the original ones were.
I mean, you can get them.
Right, you can still get them, but then we went there and picked them up, and they're the new polymer, uppers and lowers and metal. And ours were polymer, but like they felt good in your hand, and it's a difference of that, of feeling it, of the feeling of the heft and the weight and everything, versus just looking at it on Amazon. Like being able to put it through, putting any of them through your paces before you buy it is still going to be, in my opinion, especially now, better than just buying it and hoping for the best.
Well, my biggest point on it generally was I definitely wouldn't have, if G2 with the rentals and stuff like that was available when we first started playing, I definitely would have gone out and rented first and taken more time, because it was such a spur. It was such a spur of the moment decision.
Yeah.
Technically, it was my decision. He backed me up, and because we were in it to win it at that point, it was like I was like, all right, I do enjoy the feel of this gun replica, and I do kind of want it. And since he had been kind of started this whole trend, it was kind of like, all right, I'll get one too. I'm not gonna let you be the only one who's got one.
Yeah.
So it was definitely more of a spur of a moment for me, and a follow up on him, but we could have done a better job for sure.
Yeah. In the last episode, I mentioned too, like, if you think about it, it only costs you about $30 to rent one, versus spending anywhere from $200 to $500 to buy one.
Right.
And then having buyer's remorse and trying to sell that to someone else.
Especially if you end up not liking the sport.
Yeah. I mean,
you really need
that,
to go
or you just don't like the type of gun you're running.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe you're more of an AK guy after all.
Yeah, or maybe you'd rather be a sniper.
Or you want a sniper, or
you want an SMG.
Yeah, there's
more close.
Obviously, so many different types of replicas out there that locking yourself into one because you ordered it off Amazon or any website.
Or check out our hub.g2tac.com where we have the buy, sell, trade. And buy.
You might get one on discount.
Yeah.
One that may already be upgraded too.
Instead of buying a brand new. I mean, and that's a free service that we provide. So
yeah, absolutely.
Not quite as loud as bloopers, but.
And it's not as funny because his was purely by accident.
that was a little.
It's gonna be accident when I shit myself.
Real quick, because we're at like 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Shit.
Not all of that was record time for us, but The replicas you guys got that you like to run the most, you got them with you.
Yeah.
I finally have mine back. Thanks, Blooper. My Wolverine MTW. It is obviously HPA. It's also full.
Oh, that's an MTW in there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The second, so I actually bought this off of Airborne Loudermilk. After he bought it down in Brushy Mountain at that event.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He spent a lot of money that
He
day.
did, and then he
And
turned around and
buyer's
sold.
remorse.
Buyer's remorse. I had been looking at him online like the entire time. Before we even got there, I had kind of seen him, and I was like, oh, I really want one. And then we were down there, and he bought that, and he was shooting it by me all day long, and it was eating at me the whole day. I really, really wanted one. And then when he was getting out, he turned around, he was asking if anyone wanted to buy it, and I'm like, I want it. I want it a lot. And outside of until Georgia, where they did something to my regulator that did something. I'm not sure if anything. Blooper said he couldn't find anything wrong with it, but it was doing some really weird, like double firing. Like it wouldn't fire, and then I'd get 2 BBs on the next shot. But then it would fire perfectly fine for a while, and then it would do it again. And it fired perfectly up until Georgia. And like I said, it wasn't just me. There was a bunch of us that were getting chronoed, and they were messing with our regulators. And they did something to it. I don't know what. Blooper says it's working fine. I haven't had a chance. I literally just got it back. Blooper's had it for like a year. So I'll have to get a new battery for it, but definitely, definitely my favorite. I have an Avalon as well. That is my AEG. So if this were to go down while I was playing, I have my AEG. That's also been a very solid gun for me.
Is that just a fake suppressor?
This
or is
one's
that
fake.
Also, okay.
This one's fake.
It's not a.
I do have one.
Tracer unit.
It
as well.
usually is on here, but it was dead, and I had swapped it out, and I just never took it off when I handed it to Blooper. So yeah, I'm glad to have this back in my hands.
So I have 2 technically. Unfortunately, this is what we were just talking about as far as the Avalon. I don't have my sight on it at the
It
moment.
still has. Both of us still have our AMW.
Mine may have been custom painted at one point.
It's just faded.
By myself, just faded. But this was the one that I bought right after.
Got a nice grip.
Yeah, right after I had the catastrophic failure of my last one, and we did some research, and this is where we ended up going to. It doesn't have a silencer. It actually has the Loudener on it. Have you seen this?
Oh, I've seen. Yeah.
It makes an interesting
It
popping
makes
sound.
an interesting popping sound.
It does.
Yeah, I
Fires.
forget who showed me that.
Elliot.
Oh,
That's
okay.
where I got it from. Was
Okay.
was actually Elliot. Which, speaking of which, outside of the events where I'm not allowed to run it,
Which is many.
this has actually become my new primary one, which is my Crytek LMG. This has the I'm blanking. I'm having a stroke.
Tracer unit.
Tracer unit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my sight on it and all that sort of stuff.
I think we
so-
have the same tracer unit.
Yeah.
Mine's just at home because
Yep. So-
probably dead. Battery's probably dead in the thing.
I got this. We were down in Georgia, and he was running around with this. He got American.
Hated it.
Yeah, he hated it. I loved the damn thing.
Well, so he had been spending because Elliot was spending a lot of time running around with those vectors,
Yeah,
and then he got that.
which is so much heavier.
It is 2 very different
I know how heavy they
weapons.
are.
And yeah, it's funny because he has 2 of the same. Well, obviously 2 different colored ones. Like
Yeah.
one was his maple smelling
Oh
vector.
yeah. He had the white one.
The white one and the brown one that smelled like maple syrup. That was so weird.
Yeah.
I think he purposely put maple syrup on
I think he did too, just to keep people sniffing.
just to get, it smells funny. Smell it.
But this was what became my primary, because I got to use it because he wasn't liking it, so he was leaving it behind down in Georgia, and so I asked him if I could take it a couple times, and man, just being able to like mow down
Yeah.
things
Because I've got
was
what
and
LMG
just-
do I have?
taking up a position.
Oh, I have the Stoner.
Mhm.
And yeah, the few times I've used my Stoner, like when you get into a good spot and you can just lay down fire, oh, there's nothing like it.
For the record, this puts his Stoner to shame.
It does. Unfortunately, it does.
It's from distance and volume.
Yeah.
This thing, and the
It's the one time I'm gonna say, like I like to, people who like swear by Crytek. I will say like
Dude.
the Crytek versus Avalon, like in terms of like the like M4 version, I'm going to take my Avalon every day
Yeah.
versus the Crytek version. But when you're comparing my classic Army Stoner to his Crytek LMG,
This thing hands
Every
down
day.
for
Not gonna argue it.
for a.
I don't understand why people hate on Crytek.
I don't know either.
It's
I
kind
know
of like
it's
that
like-
name
I think
brand.
it's like the Apple issue.
Yes,
I
that's
think
my
so.
point. That's my
I
point.
know like Blooper hates Crytek because they have proprietary stuff inside the
again,
gearbox,
I'm sure
which
it
I
makes it
It's the
difficult
understand.
to
Apple
work
point.
on.
It's the same thing. Apple does all the proprietary stuff on it, so that you can't really work on them. And this is the same thing.
But then you just slap an HPA body into it when the gearbox goes bad, and
And
now
it's the
it's
same
just-
thing.
and now it's just
regardless.
the body.
yeah,
But for a non-HPA gun, man, this thing just.
smokes, huh?
It's just buttery smooth.
Yeah.
I love it.
I also want to say I think part of the reason why the Stoner doesn't work, it isn't as good, is because Marmar broke it. And it's never been the same.
I mean, you can use all the excuses you want if it makes you feel better.
No, I just want to blame Marmar for something because he did break it. He broke the
did.
stock off, and he did something
Running
to my
around at
sling.
Battlegrounds.
Yeah, I let him use it that one time. And he brought it back, and it came back to me in pieces. I'm like, what did you do? It wasn't that bad, but it was fun because that was like right before he left.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give him a hard time, and it was a good time. You could keep that.
The
why are
last
you giving it
dab,
to me
triple
first?
X, because you're on the right side.
Why do I get? Why do I?
And you get to start the
this
answer question
one-
this time.
Oh fuck me!
I spoke through that as best I could.
This
You
one
get to do
runs
it.
more. Just FYI.
So we can't divulge the stuff we talked about in our private chats.
Of course.
Of course.
Nothing is of that yet.
Right.
But since you guys have been living on the outside for so long, like, what do you guys think about with how things are going, and or anything else you want to add to that?
It shivers of fear of what's coming